the experts about that surge and how we are going to see the water coming up over the seawall in certain places. Well, we're almost seeing it already, and it's only 6:30. I mean, you might say that the estimates were somewhat conservative. We were told that around midnight tonight, the water would first start coming over these seawalls. We are, a good 5 to 6 hours away from that, and it looks to me like it's going to happen a whole lot sooner. If you look over my shoulder over there, you see some of the spoil islands in Biscayne Bay. Those are the famous islands at Cristo, wrapped in pink so beautifully. Those are going to be wrapped in water pretty soon, and you can see the seawall over there on the left. That's North Bay Village, this small island where we're located here in the middle of the North Bay of Biscayne Bay, and you can already see that the water is only about a foot from the top of the seawall. Now, there is no way on God's green earth that that water is not going to be on that green lawn next to that building on the first floor of that apartment unit. No way. I mean, it's absolutely impossible. I mean, unless something incredibly severe happens to the storm. You can already get the sense out here that these seas, this Biscayne Bay, is preparing itself to actually come over the shores, and that's what we've been talking about all along. Now, up here in the North Bay, we're told, at least historically, that the surge is not going to be as powerful as down around South Bay, down by Matheson Hammock. There, the surge can go, if we get to a Category 5, as high as 16 feet. Picture 16 feet. I'm not a tall guy, but even the big guys, I think, would have a hard time staying afloat on that. In this area where we are right now, the surge could come up as high as 8 to 10 feet. Nonetheless, it's certainly enough water to drown in, and it's enough water to have all kinds of problems with. You start to get the feel for it as you look out in Biscayne Bay right now. It's preparing to do just that. You can almost see the wind, Penny, Sally, actually pushing the surf back into this direction. Now, the hurricane is actually right over there as I'm looking at it right now, and it's coming in this way. And as you look at the surf, you actually see the waves coming back in this direction and hitting the seawall just that exact way as it's been described.
You know, Rick, can we take a little bit tighter shot of the water right now? I'd like to see how close those waves are to coming right up to your feet.
Yeah, I think we can. It's hard for me. I don't have a monitor anywhere near me, so I don't know. You can see. You're going to have to tell me what you're...
Ask the photographer to zoom in a little bit more on the water as it's, you know, lapping up towards the top of the... That's it.
You see the water right there? You just saw one of the waves actually come over the seawall and get this area over here wet. It's hard because the camera that I'm facing right now is actually a good 75 yards away from me, so it's hard to get that perspective.
You know, I'm curious, Rick, when you said a storm surge could go up to 16 feet
That's
or
right.
8 to 10 feet, where you are standing right there, that's just out our back door. It sent a cold chill up my spine. Looking toward the building there, does that mean this building would be flooded at 8 to 10 feet?
That is absolutely what it means. And we at Channel 7 would be crazy to think that it may not happen. That's why we've made the contingency plans to perhaps move our facilities to Broward, also to our transmitter, because if present trends continue, that is to say, if everything that we see happening right now does in fact happen, there's a good portion near the eye of the storm, certainly within 35 miles north and south, that's going to hit this area where we are right now. If that were to happen, we would see a surge that would be at least as high as 8 feet, possibly higher in this area. Down around South Bay, the surge could be even higher, perhaps as high as 16 feet.
All right, let's, Jillian Morey's standing by, and let's talk some more about this storm surge. This is what everybody fears the most from hurricanes, and
it's a huge
what could cause us to
of
move
water, as I understand. It's just going to go very high and go over everything.
And cause us to move to higher ground at some point.
Absolutely.
And still broadcast to you, but we'll go to a different spot. Let's turn to Jillian and see what she has to say about this storm surge.
Well, unfortunately, Sally, to add insult to injury, tomorrow morning at about 8:01 is high tide. Now, the worst case scenario that we're looking at, it's 7 to 10 feet above above normal tide level, and we could see even as high as 13 feet of water in the Biscayne Bay area alone. That's what we're up against. The high tide just happens to be at 8:01, and we're looking at a hurricane arriving by daybreak. So this is not even good news, obviously, if there is any good news out of this whole situation. The current statistics show that, again, he is still moving to the west at about 16 miles an hour, backing winds of 150. In fact, let's just pull those right down and go back to the loop, because those right now are outdated. So let's go back to the loop if we can. Thank you. There it is, moving west. He is now 240 miles east of Miami, and take into consideration that the winds ahead of the eye, that means the eye is 240 miles away from us. The winds ahead of it expand 135 miles. So what we are up against tonight, Sally and Penny, is this. Tropical storm winds will start to move in this evening. We're talking 40-mile-an-hour winds. By the pre-dawn hours, hurricane conditions will start to move upon us. And by daybreak, we are looking at the full-fledged hurricane. Now, exactly where? Well, they're forecasting between Dade and Broward, or around Dade and Broward, if that eye continues to move on that westerly latitude mode. And in fact, it has been doing so. There is really nothing around it other than high pressure. So if there was a deterrent, it would be good at this point. And as someone mentioned earlier, it would have to be a miracle at this point for an upward slope or a downward swoop, because it's just not going to happen. So again, it is now currently 240 miles east of Miami. It is continuing to the west at 16 miles an hour, and the winds associated with is 150 miles an hour. The pictures outside we just saw with Rick are sobering, perhaps even more sobering is what you hear on the phone with Michael Williams, who again is in Nassau. Very, very sobering sounds and sights, that's for sure. And again, we'll be up against the worst later on. And once again, I'll be here live as long as I can be bringing you the current statistics on Hurricane Andrew. Back to you for now.
Thank you, Jillian.
Jillian just mentioned Michael Williams, who is our eyes and ears in Nassau in the Bahamas. We were talking to him a little while ago, and things were really, really picking up. The winds were really picking up badly there. We heard it. He saw it. Michael, are you with us?
Yes, Penny.
What's happening at this point out your window?
Well, it continues to just get worse by the minute almost, and I know that's overworked, but it literally is, Penny. The skies are just a slate gray. Visibility is down. I'm staring at a old barge, about a 40-foot boat somebody anchored off here, and it looks like it's starting to list a bit and taking on some water. They tried to anchor it offshore. I am certain that by morning it will either be underwater, somewhat offshore, or it will be on the shore. There's no way it's going to hold up to the weather here. And as for the winds, well, everything is starting to whip wildly about outside. I must say, a few moments ago, we got our first flicker of the electricity, our first sign that the electricity here is not going to be on that much longer. The waves are 6 feet, perhaps 6 feet plus. Hopefully in the next few minutes, I'll have the latest estimates on wind speed. In fact, I think I'm getting it right now. I'm told from my photographer, Anthony Pineda, that they're now saying our winds at this moment are at 42 miles per hour, keeping in mind that the storm still has approximately, what, Tony? How much longer to get here?
Okay, Michael,
About
we
8
need...
to 8:30 is when we're going to really be in the heart of it. Then to 11, it will continually get worse, and we've already got winds over 40, and they're just going to get that much greater as we go along.
Okay, Michael, we need to wrap things up for this hour right now. Stay with us as long as you can, and we will get back to you as soon as possible when we come back for our 7 o'clock hour.
Well, as you know, the winds are starting to pick up in South Florida. We are now beginning to feel the effects of this Hurricane Andrew, and it's only going to get worse. All we can say at this point is please get to a shelter while you can at this point. There's going to be a point where the roads are impassable and you can't get to a shelter, and they are filling up, and you need to go. If you haven't gone, go. Here are some that you can, some locations of shelters. You might want to check them out.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
There are potential problem there, and so I would assume that you will be evacuating that facility sometime no later than, say, midnight or so.
You know, you mentioned earlier the first time we'd had a major hurricane like this one here was in the 1940s. Back in the 1940s, a lot of these islands that we're on right now didn't exist because these things are man-made. What do you make of this?
Well, indeed, that's how that a lot of that land was sold out there. It got all that beautiful water around it. You just put this little sort of seawall up there and pump the land in behind it. Had a beautiful way of life there until hurricanes come along.
What does that mean, though, if this hurricane comes along? I mentioned earlier it's untested. For the most part, it is, correct?
The water will come across into those areas. If you get that 8 to 10 feet of rise, maybe even 12 to 14 some parts of Biscayne Bay, indeed the Star Islands and some of the others there, you'll be getting some of that water across those small islands.
Yeah, and that's a situation I think everybody's most concerned about because we don't know what's going to happen. Have you gotten any indication out of what's been going on in the Bahamas exactly what kind of storm surge we can expect?
Well, they get over there a little less than we would get in some of these situations. Now, a lot of those little islands are sort of tucked in behind the big island of Miami Beach, and so they don't have a long time for the water to build up, and that's the good part. It's the ones that set out and have a big stretch of Biscayne Bay down there. So the larger rises in Biscayne Bay are actually going to be down in the south zone probably as compared to up in around the Star Island area.
Yeah, we shall see how well man made those islands. That would probably be the true test, wouldn't it?
Well, it's not going to have a long period of wave action. See, it's the wave action that erodes away and destroys seawalls, and since this hurricane is moving along at a fairly steady speed, you're not going to have a long period of that wave action, and so they may stand up fairly well as far as permanent damage is concerned. The whole rise could take place and water come across, perhaps not destroy the seawalls that are there holding the land behind.
We sure hope so. Thank you very much, Dr. Bob Sheets from the National Hurricane Center.
What have we learned from these conversations with Michael Williams and Dr. Bob Sheets? Well, if the hurricane stays on this present course, we already have the timetable. You have an idea now of when it's actually going to make land. But we now also know that if it stays on this exact course, those of us north of the eye, and that looks like it's going to include Miami, Hialeah, certainly Fort Lauderdale, probably some parts of South Dade and Kendall, probably are going to be feeling a pretty good effect. Some of the higher, bigger, more intensive winds. Those south of the eye, that looks, if you continue that course again, like Homestead, Florida City, Key Largo, are not going to have as intensive winds. That doesn't mean you're not going to be in a hurricane. You most certainly are. Winds of 80 and 90 miles an hour, as Michael explained, that is definitely a hurricane. However, you may not get the same kind of winds that we're going to be experiencing up here in the north. And again, that's if the hurricane stays on that westerly track that it happens to be on right now, and that is not a positive. That could definitely change. Just drawing scenarios for you right now as we approach the bewitching hour.
Yeah, and of course,
first of all, as far as latitude and longitude, and if you're not following this or tracking it, most people like to just say, how many miles east is it of us? And right now it's 100 miles east of Miami, I can tell you that. And once again, that is from the center of the eye of the hurricane. Remember, the winds that extend outwards beyond the eye reach a good 100 miles. So yes, we are starting to feel what is the beginning of the tropical storm force winds. Right now, that is anywhere from 40 to about 74 miles an hour. Of course, 75 being the cutoff for hurricane storm force winds, or hurricane force winds, just the same. Again, as far as tracking a hurricane, you really couldn't have picked an easier one to track. It's been very much on course, meaning right now, if it keeps going at the momentum that we feel that it will, it should arrive, that is the eye of the hurricane, should arrive by daybreak. Right now, it is again backing winds of 140 miles an hour, and the beaches are already starting to feel the effects of the tropical storm force winds. And once again, I reiterate, they are anywhere from 40 to 74 miles per hour. Now, also, one other thing I'd like to mention with this system, as it did move through Nassau, a lot of questions were being asked. Why wasn't Nassau hit as hard? Nassau, again, was on the weaker end of the storm system. What happens is, I don't know if you can zoom in a little bit. We've got this behind me, and Dr. Bob Sheets has been working so busy. He's been so busy all day and all night. But where Nassau is, again, it's on the southern or the weaker side of the system. The eye of the hurricane is in the middle. The stronger winds are in the northwestern quadrant, and basically they are backing speeds, again, of 140 miles an hour along the wall. But as it moves or motions to the west, take the top spin as well, top speed, which is now 60 miles an hour. Add that to the 140 miles an hour, and that area that will be hit by those winds will be probably the hardest hit area. So that's why when we were talking about our two Michael Williams earlier, who's in Nassau, that's why he wasn't experiencing the brunt end or the worst part of the system, but that is
First, well, actually, we're looking at 43rd Street, and you can see that the wind has already started to pick up significantly.
About how long ago was that?
This is probably 25 minutes ago. We made a beeline here. Let me tell you that the police chief over in Miami Beach has now asked Patrick Frazier and Carlos Harrison to get off the beach. They're asking all of the crews on the beach now. They feel that the winds have increased significantly enough to warrant that action. So Patrick and Carlos are heading north and hope to have a shot in the Hallover Beach area, which I passed by probably 15 or 20 minutes ago, and they should be able to bring you some pretty good pictures.
When the police chief asked them to get off the beach, did he mean that things were worse in South Beach? Did he intend for them to go to Oliver Beach, or would he prefer that they just get off the beach entirely?
No, I think this is news people are looking for the pictures and and to bring back the information. This is where things are happening right now, all along the beach area. So they figure if they can't get the by the way, you're looking at some pictures of some downed trees. It's the area, in the area of the Fontainebleau Hilton. We'll have a picture coming up here momentarily of a boat that was partially submerged here. You can see it. It's way off in the distance. It's on the other side of Indian River there, taking on water.
And this is only in the very early stages.
Early stages. At this point, I would say the winds were probably no more than 60, gusting at 60 miles an hour.
Did you see much boat damage, or was that just the only thing you saw?
I tell you, I was trying to negotiate here. Now I think we're up in. I'm trying to remember now. This is the beach that's at about 63rd Street, just before the turn that you'd make to come back over the bridge that takes you to the 79th Street Causeway in Channel 7. And the wind was just intense. This is that intersection here at 71st, and I have to tell you that I was really struggling just to stand up.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's bad.
Yeah.
And the worst is going to hit about 5 o'clock, they're saying. So if you can imagine the intensity of this,
right. Here's a shot at Ocean Terrace. This is right on the beach here, and this is I called one of our producers, Bill Behovey, to tell him that I did see some sand drifting over the top of the dunes here, and you can see they built this barrier about 3 or 4 years ago to keep the beach erosion down, and part of the fencing and stuff has already come down, even in these light winds.
You felt a lot of sand flying around out there?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing some serious cleaning on the camera before I head back out.
You are going back out then?
Yeah, I know. My wife Jan and my 6-week-old son Calvin are at home, and I want them to know that I'm fine. And our crews are not going to do anything too hazardous, but we do want to bring some pictures and information back to the people.
I'm sure Jan will be happy to hear that.
How was the driving? How was it to negotiate out there?
Well, you can see here I'm driving with the camera on my shoulder, and I'm sure that if the police knew that we were doing that, they'd probably ask us not to. But we're in Bal Harbor here. Same thing. Lights out, all the street lights out. Here heading over the bridge at Haulover. And just gusting wind and significant rain at this point.
Any particular streets look like at this point, whether you can tell, are going to have a flooding problem?
I'd suggest to you that all these areas, including up into Golden Beach, look to suffer the worst. Any of the areas, as all the people at the Hurricane Center have been telling us, the low-lying areas close to the ocean are gonna get some serious rain.
Ralph, when you were out, did you see any people out other than news people or police?
The police officers you see here at the William Lehman Causeway blocking traffic going eastbound were the last living souls I saw until I opened the door and walked in here.
So people are listening to the warnings. Well, that's good. At least no thrill seekers out there.
Right. Here, this is I-95 at the Ives Dairy interchange, and that's looking north. Again, no traffic, no one on the road. Swing around here and look south. Same thing. Not even troopers were out on the road now.
It looked like that the traffic lights were out.
Yeah,
there.
It's 2:20. Our electricity has gone out in the morning. Hurricane isn't even here. Yeah.
Just to the north of that, we'll have the highest potential for flooding, the highest winds, and the largest storm surge. So that's what we're looking at right now from the Hurricane Andrew, as it continues to bear down in South Florida at this hour, now pushing 2:30. By 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, on towards 7, 8 o'clock, we'll have the worst part of the storm, and as Dr. Sheets indicated earlier, 6:30, maybe 7 o'clock in the Cutler Ridge area, Homestead area, Florida City area. That's where the eye will most likely make landfall, judging by all the information that's at hand right now. Penny, Joan?
Thank you, Steve. You know, we're already beginning to get reports of some major damage. We understand we just got word that a transformer blew in downtown Fort Lauderdale. All of the street lights are apparently out. It's apparently just gone dark in downtown Fort Lauderdale. So, as I said, reports of major damage already coming in.
We've also got an update from the wire services. Dr. Sheets is telling us he had one death confirmed in the Bahamas and Little Island.
1 o'clock in the Cutler Ridge area, Homestead area, Florida City area. That's where the eye will most likely make landfall, judging by all the information that's at hand right now. Penny, Joan?
Thank you, Steve. You know, we're already beginning to get reports of some major damage. We understand we just got word that a transformer blew in downtown Fort Lauderdale. all of the street lights are apparently out. It's apparently just gone dark in downtown Fort Lauderdale. So, as I said, reports of major damage already coming in.
We've also got an update from the wire services. Dr. Sheets was telling us he had one death confirmed in the Bahamas and Luther Island. According to the Bahamian government, now 4 people have been killed in the storm. We believe that they were either on Luther Island or Abaco Island, but again, that's 4 deaths in the Bahamas. Oh, I see. So rather than the Dade Broward line, does that bode a little bit worse for the Keys then? We're pretty concerned about that area.
Well, they're going to get more of an offshore flow and off of Florida Bay, so they're going to get some problems in the upper Keys as a result of that. But the worst part is, again, the onshore flow there on the north side, Key Biscayne, downtown Miami, here in Coral Gables, and so on northward into the Miami Beach area.
Okay, Dr. Sheets, thank you very much, and we'll check back with you in just a few minutes. I think now we have the opportunity to go live to our photographer, Ralph Rayburn, who is at Hallandale Beach Boulevard and A1A. Ralph, are you with us?
Okay, I'm not sure he's quite ready.
Yes.
Okay, he's ready now.
Yeah.
There he
He
is.
is ready, just ready. Ralph, what are you seeing? What are you hearing?
Well, I certainly hope you're seeing a picture at this point.
We
We're
do,
looking,
yes, we do.
Yeah, that's the tower, and you're looking back, looking west right now. Yeah, I'm going to come back to the truck for a second, get something to wipe the lens off from Adam Rice, and we'll take a little walk out here on the beach. Let me see. Okay. Pardon the darkness for a second there. We'll just keep moving
It
here.
looks pretty good, Ralph. Keep going.
Okay.
We can see well. Thank you.
Yeah.
How does it feel to you from the time that you showed us those other pictures?
I think I should start gaining weight because I feel like a kite here with this big yellow jacket on. It's starting to blow pretty strong. It's not just pushing me backwards right now. There's an empty lifeguard stand here. Hopefully I get a shot down here and show you some of the waves. I'm going to wipe the lens off one more time here. Hang on.
Well, while you're doing that, we have to point out that Ralph Rayburn is about, what would you say, Joan, 6'4", and definitely not a little guy, and he feels like he's being blown around like
Throw a little light on here. Anyway, as you can see, the rain's coming almost due sideways now, right into the lens of the camera. I'm sure that Will Harbison, our operations manager, is going to be happy with the condition of this camera when we get done. I'll wipe the lens again here. Anyway, we're not going to hang here too long because we've been listening to Bob Sheets, and he knows more about this stuff than we do, but we wanted to give our viewers at home a chance to see what it's like for the people down here as I stumble over something.
As you're making your way back to wherever you're going, and we'll take whatever shots you can give us during that time, how was the driving out there at this point?
Well, Adam Rice, one of our live truck engineers who's operating this unit that we're working from, pointed out some bus benches on Hallandale Beach Boulevard that had already been blown over by the wind. So the bus benches are made of all of concrete and some plywood. You got to figure that the winds are pretty strong to blow those things over.
You know, that rain looks almost like hail. Does it look that way to you there?
I'm sorry, I got to wipe the lens again. There's a tremendous amount of sand mixed with this rain right now, and it's whipping around here pretty strong. These, amazingly, what are these things called here?
Chaise lounges.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, it's kind of hard.
That's a nice way of putting it.
They're strapped down, but none of them have started flying yet. We're not going to hang here too much longer, but we did want to give you guys a picture.
Okay, your wife Jan will be happy to hear that you're not going to hang there too much longer, but we certainly appreciate the pictures, Ralph, and we'll get back to you if you have anything else in a little while.
Okay.
I've just been handed a piece of paper from our producer monitoring our wire services. We understand there was a big fire. This is a big fire at Northwest 172nd Avenue and Biscayne. It's a 2-story building. This note says it will most likely have to burn to the ground, and they do think it was started by the hurricane. Whether it'll burn to the ground because no one can get to it or it's just not worth the effort, we don't know. I'm not sure what...
Thanks a lot, Steve. We'll get back to you in a few minutes. Right now, we are going to Carlos Harrison, who is live in Broward County at Hallandale Beach Boulevard and A1A. Carlos, tell us...
We are out here at Hallandale Beach Boulevard to what we would know as Broward Boulevard, along that area. Now, for the most part, they're hit and miss areas. Not exactly what you would say a massive area. There might be a 5 or 6 block area without power, then another 5 or 6 block area with power. So it's almost at intervals. We have spoken with some Florida Power and Light officials, and they're basically telling us when they have a lot of transformers go or when they have a lot of power lines go down, the way they're going to deal with it is they're just going to go ahead and let that entire area shut off. Unless there's a real emergency, they're not going to be sending crews in there with these with these winds that we're going to be experiencing now to try and put the telephone poles or the electric poles back up or fix the transformers. They'll do it after the hurricane is gone, and that would be sometime tomorrow around probably 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock.
Is it the winds that are causing these transformer explosions, do you think? What is causing it? It's obviously from the hurricane, but what part of the hurricane is causing these things to happen?
You know, we experienced a couple of these. We got to see firsthand a little while ago when we were driving down here. Actually, it's not a little while ago anymore, about 2 or 3 hours ago. We actually saw them blow. It seemed to us at the time the only possible explanation for it could have been the wind, because there was nothing else happening at the time other than the wind. So
hours ago. We also have a report of a large fire at Northeast 172nd and Biscayne Boulevard. And I think this would be part of the evacuation area, actually. Don't know what building this is. Well, apparently it was a building where boats were being built, some sort of a boat building. Don't know what it is. Might have been a marina, I'm not sure. Northeast 172nd and Biscayne Boulevard, apparently a large fire, and apparently the fire department is not going to be responding to this at this time, so if there's a fire, it's probably going to just have to burn itself out.
We've just been told it's Mako Marina, where that fire that you're speaking of was. Just recognizing some of those pictures that Ralph just showed us, Ralph Raymond we refer to. That's the area right behind, not far from Channel 7 actually, that's around 163rd and Collins Avenue where some of these pictures are taken. And again, you know, you really don't get the full brunt of the hurricane or the full brunt even of the storm in these pictures. These
pictures, the bridge going over to Holliver.
These pictures, you look at them right now, they don't look any different than a thunderstorm in South Florida on any particular day. I mean, there's nothing extremely dramatic about these pictures. An overturned tree in South Florida is not a revelation, as a matter of fact. Jillian Ware has been following the situation for us for a while now. You know, you can't help but wonder, Jillian, if the folks in the Keys, who we were always so concerned about, actually, because of the position of the hurricane, the way it's coming in, as far down as Key West, they've kind of lucked out, haven't they?
They certainly have, and when you consider that on the south side of the eye, it's one of the weaker areas, if you can call any area a weak area within a hurricane. Rick, you're probably right in your assessment, because again, as Michael was mentioning when he was reporting from the Nassau area, and he was saying, you know, it was incredibly somber. You would expect something a little more dramatic. The hurricane is scheduled. I say scheduled, and really, what kind of a schedule can you anticipate in the middle of a hurricane? But as close as we can anticipate, we think it's going to be arriving at least by 4:30 around the Cutler Ridge area. Again, the eye moving on shore by 4:30. Of course, we're starting to feel the winds here far west of 4:41.
Okay, it's
why don't we take this opportunity
about 10 minutes after 4 right now, so in about 20 minutes we're going to get the full part of it. It's really blowing.
We can all talk and join in. I took a building about half an hour ago with Steve Adams, our other weather person.
And we still got one TV channel. We lost the other one.
Right now, we're experiencing
there's stuff. Take it, John. The house sounds like we're really in it now. Everything's rattling. Here, John.
Yeah. By the time this eye hurricane moves through, we're talking about conditions of rain elsewhere.
Where's that fan at that was in here? Was that a battery-operated fan or not? No? Okay, they just said we had a gust of 144 miles an hour in Coral Gables. The eye is 10 miles off of Homestead and heading due west.
Certainly not anything beyond what we've expected at this point. Again, Dr. Bob, at the Hurricane Center, which is the wind just measured outside that area in Coral Gables, 144 miles an hour. Back to you guys for now.
Sure would be nice to know what's happening in the Keys at this point. We've been very concerned about the kids. It's going to take them so long to evacuate. So many people were not evacuating. But we really are still waiting to hear from Dr. Bob as far as I understand. And we just couldn't afford to send crews down there. I mean, that was just, that was more than you could ask anybody mean, we're all pretty dedicated, but enough is enough. But we did
Can't even get you guys. We're trying to shoot down the hallway, but it's just too dark. We're just sitting in the hallway and rocking and rolling.
This was shot in Miami Beach by Mark that I was with Russell Brisbane, Jesus.
Look at that.
Jesus is shot a lot of saw a lot of trees down, a lot of problems like that. So these are just minor things going on. I guess when you're at home and look out your window. Apparently the information we're getting is that Channel 10 has lost one of the microwave antennas.
Yeah, we lost. I believe it. They're gone.
That's the reason that they've been gone, that they're off the air. We'll do everything we can to help them. We'd like to have many people on the air in South Florida. Anything to disseminate more information. The more people that receive this information, the safer they're going to be. And this is not a time for us to be thinking about competition or beating these people or beating anybody else. As far as we're concerned right now, if there were 5 channels going at the same time, it would all be better for you. Some other things we can tell you about right now, this is serious. Carl Gable, the National Hurricane Center, one of their satellite dishes has, according to one of our sources, fallen off the building and maybe on the street. Also, at least one of the window panes in the National Hurricane Center, this is where Bob Sheets has been talking to us from all night long, one of the window panes has busted out and causing serious problems with Carl Gable.
I don't know if this door's going to make it. So everybody who's along the boulevard or US 1 or 9.
Well, just stay back, John. If it goes, it goes.
They are still operational, but we understand we have...
We'll get up and... You have your nails and hammer ready? You need to get that stuff out, because if it goes, we're not going to have a lot of time.
Well, let's explain to you why Coral Gables is getting the brunt of this. Remember we talked to you about earlier about how this hurricane had developed and how it had continued to go in that westerly direction. It's almost like a line, just like my arm is right now. This is where the hurricane was. It comes straight across. So far west, without that northwest we originally talked about, this
gosh damn. We're really getting hammered here.
Love it, and welcome Kelly.
Good morning. I think we were sleeping about 5 feet away, so we were here in body, if not in spirit. I understand there's now a boil water order for all of Dade County. If you've never had to do that before, what is it, 10 minutes?
8 minutes.
8 minutes?
To boil your water, and there's some makeshift methods about putting household bleach in, 8 drops per gallon or whatever. It doesn't sound like a great way to drink brackish water. I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend it boiling it, but that may not be possible.
If you don't have the power, that's at least an option. And
see a better shot of that in a Kentucky Fried Chicken. Its parking lots are flooded.
How deep is the water?
I don't know. I would say less than a foot, but it may have been higher at one point. I'm surprised that a lot of the windows that weren't shattered.
Really?
A lot of
the wind was that strong?
A lot of them. Driving south on A1A, the rain really started picking up again, the wind started picking up. You'll see up here a roof. There's a roof laying in the road.
Now this was shot just a half an hour ago.
And yes, and here's where that roof came from, we believe, over this building here, one of the hotels. I'm not sure the name of that.
Wow. Yes, there's
So
a lot of
structural damage.
A lot of rubble there. We see timber and things. It looks like raw wood from something. I don't know, maybe something they were just building. The Blue Seas Hotel, here it is. Water flowing out in front.
But you're right, there's more glass intact than we thought, although they said if it had the tint on it, it was about as safe and forward as it could be.
Now what's that? That's more than a power line. That's a transformer or something.
The whole pole and all.
The whole pole and all. Down.
Now these two guys here, they were working for the Sun Sentinel. We were surprised to see people out, but they were doing the same thing we were doing, just trying to.
Getting a story, huh?
Exactly. Some more heavy rain pouring off the buildings.
Looks like they still have a roof at least. We can give them that.
What, if you could generalize?
Now we're on 163rd Street, I believe. We turned to go west on 163rd. We're eventually going to get to Biscayne Boulevard and go north. On Biscayne Boulevard, we really ran into a surprise, some major damage you're going to see here in a moment.
That was a street light.
This is a street light. Yeah, I tell you, we saw more traffic lights in the middle of the road, and when you're driving under them, you see them swaying, the ones that are still there. Now here, we're right in the middle of Biscayne Boulevard trying to go north, and that's what we saw.
It's a huge tree right in the middle of it.
Right.
And we're going to be seeing a lot of that. It's going to take a while
now, Now,
to get
this
that
is
stuff
this
cleared.
is the worst damage we found. This is a nightclub in North Miami Beach, Maco's Bay Club, burned to the ground, still burning while we were there. So I don't know what started
Wow. Who knows what could have caused it?
Right.
This leaking gas situation is a big problem.
Ken Tolliver got out here to shoot these pictures, and this is, I believe, where our tour ends. We came back to bring this tape as quick as we could.
Now, what is that building again that's
It's a
burned out? It's
nightclub.
just a hull of a building.
It's called the Maco's Bay Club. It's at 172nd in Biscayne.
Rather well known.
Right.
Still
Doesn't look
burning,
like
as a
there's
matter of
going to
fact.
be anything left of it to know.
And no firefighters to put it out.
Right.
Conditions.
We reported this, I believe, 2 or 3 in the morning. We first got the call on this, and this is the first chance we could get there to get pictures. And we got there, what, a half an hour ago, and it's still burning.
Is this the one that we said was the Mako Marina?
Right. We reported it earlier as Mako Marina. It's Maco's Bay Club. And I believe that's where our pictures are going to end.
Was it hard to drive the car through?
Well, I didn't have to drive. I was simply a passenger. But I tell you, we were going over the William Lehman Causeway, and Ken Tolliver, he's used to this. I guess he's done this before.
He's kind of stoic.
Right. I, however, saw the windows shaking and thought maybe we're not doing such a smart thing, but we made it. And
Was it scary, really?
it was a little scary, I thought. I felt like the windows were going to shatter. And before we left, Ken advised me to watch for things flying at the vehicle because they will break the glass, and you never know what will happen. So we made it. We're back, and we hope to get some more pictures.
And thanks for doing it. We
You're
appreciate
going back
it.
out?
We'll see.
Take a little break, have some coffee, and think about that thought, huh? Again, this area apparently is not really one of the hardest hit. From what we're understanding, Kendall really took a major blow, and those folks still are not done. That's apparently where the eye passed over, and we're hearing a lot of things about roofs off and homes. We, of course, saw buildings that really had no one in them, at least we hope not for the time being, but the homes, we don't know because Kendall was really not an evacuation area at the time, so this must have been mostly wind and tree damage, I would imagine.
We've got a lot of reports of damage in Coral Gables as well, and we expect to see a lot of damage in downtown Miami. We haven't gotten a crew in there, but if we could, it'd probably be very interesting pictures because all the signs point toward a lot of damage in downtown Miami. And we've heard there's pretty much
WSVN and see they're into their new newscast, and we'll join them and see what they're finding.
Unless you're fleeing people in the business that we're in, we're there to broadcast and try to help other people. So it's Mother Nature can be crazy.
And our emergency crews worked very well in getting people out. I mean, a lot of people decided at the last minute, oops, I'm going to go to a shelter. We had the buses running till like 8 o'clock at night. They ran fairly late. We had emergency crews going in and getting people out who couldn't get out, who decided at the last minute they wanted to get out and go to a shelter. And so the evacuation effort, I think, was superb in all of this.
There's one wonderful thing about a hurricane, and that is that it really gives you time to prepare. Unlike earthquakes and tornadoes that just come out of nowhere and when you least expect them, at least with a hurricane, if you act responsibly and if you're given and get enough information, you can do things that can save your life and save the life of your families. And I think this is a hurricane that, if nothing else, has proven just that if we do those things, we can't avoid it. I feel bad for the people of California or the people of Kansas who have to deal with earthquakes and tornadoes respectively because they don't get this kind of warning. They're not told that you have 24 hours or 48 hours and you can prepare and you can do this or you can do that.
Sometimes with a tornado, you do get some warnings. I remember spending many nights in the basement waiting for a tornado and watching it develop and go overhead. So I mean, it does happen with the tornado, right, but not like this. Although looking back, if you could have redone it, did you do all you would have liked to have done to prepare for this? I know in my situation with my house, I didn't. For example, I didn't have enough time to take the awnings off. I don't know what happened, but I suspect I have no awnings when I go back home. That seems to be the case all over. Those who didn't take their awnings down lost them. I suspect that's what happened at my place. I would have reinforced the doors a little better. When I heard that it was going to be a Category 5 storm, I thought, I haven't done enough. There is no way. What I did to my place would not have withstood a Category 5 storm.
Or at least that it could have been. It had the possibility of becoming a Category 5.
That's right. We thought for sure it would be at one point.
At one point, we were only 5 miles off from being a Category 5, and I remember thinking, boy, it's gaining strength. It's still got the Gulf Stream ahead of it. How can we avoid becoming? But I guess you have to take into consideration that anything can happen with a natural disaster, in other words, Mother Nature. Anything can happen, anything is possible. In some respects, the high-pressure ridge that was sitting above the area for so long was responsible for steering Andrew our way. Had we had a
live broadcast from WSVN television in Kendall outside the Miami area. Let's listen in.
Here, if we can find out for the residents of this area, Kendall, Country Walk, and let them know where they need to go. They obviously are hearing that word that they just, any way they can get out, they've got to get over to the nearest fire station or go see friends.
Carlos, did they say Country Walk was gone, basically?
Basically, we've got to get over there, take a look. We'll get you that video just as soon as we can. It does not sound pretty.
No, that's a highly populated area. It's very dense. Everything's very close together. That could be a tremendous blow.
And people there may not have evacuated. They may have tried to stick it out because that's further inland.
Right,
well,
that's close to the
That would be a surprise.
Kelly, I mean, my family, we live very close to where we thought the storm was going to be coming ashore. What was in the evacuation zone earlier when we were doing those stories yesterday, and I moved my family out to stay with my mother out in West Dade because I thought they'd be safer. So far, I think everything's okay, but we don't know. It seems like it's taken the brunt of the storm is out here where we thought we'd be safest and away from the water.
Just shows how unpredictable these storms could be, because that was the exact thought. We said go west, go west, go west. In fact, several of us were invited to stay in West Dade in the Kendall area, thinking that that would be the one place to go, and wouldn't you know it, that seems to be away from the water, close to the Everglades. It would be safe, and yet
They just haven't stood up to the wind. This is a fierce, very, very fierce storm. We've seen Hugo, we've seen Gilbert and other places. The damage we're seeing here as we move further out, the reports that you just heard that we're getting, it sounds like we have suffered some terrible, terrible damage here in South Florida from this storm.
You know, Carlos, we've been talking about the storm surge. Do you see any evidence of that, or is this mostly wind damage that you see? What caused the damage that you see, do you think?
The maximum damage that we see is obviously caused by the wind. It is the roofs, it is the cars that are pelted by the missiles, it is the trees that are felled, those whole chunks of Metro Rail that you saw that were torn off and thrown down. Luckily, no one was hurt there. As far as water damage, what we're seeing, it appears to be the rising water of that heavy, heavy rainfall that we all saw during the night, that we could hear pelting our roofs. But it doesn't appear, at least in the areas we've been, we have not been out to the coastal regions yet to see any of that storm surge.
All right, thank you, Craig. Good news for Miami Beach residents. They want to get back on that island, and now they're going to be able to.
And that is good news. We told you just a little while ago we were trying to hook up with the helicopter pilot who's shooting this devastation from the helicopter itself. Maurice Johnson is his name. First of all, Maurice, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you, Rick. Go ahead.
Maurice, you and I have known each other a long time, so I'm going to ask you this question quite bluntly. With the exception of the wars in which you have fought, have you ever seen pictures that resemble the type of destruction that you're flying over right now?
That's negative. This, what you see now, is what you call total destruction, especially like here, over at the airport. I've seen places that's been bombed out that did not create the destruction that Hurricane Andrew has just caused to this area.
Sally and I are looking at these pictures, you know, and we almost want to not believe that some of these buildings actually were something other than perhaps dilapidated buildings to begin with, or maybe buildings that were halfway constructed. That's not the case, though, is it?
No, the modern age building that we're shooting just at this particular moment is a fairly new building. It's only 5 years old. The shopping center that's across the street where it says Winn-Dixie, Kmart, that is a recent structure up there. It's built in the last 6 or 7 years. The Cutler Ridge Mall, as you know, is one of the newest malls that we have in this area. And like I said, it is total devastation.
Maurice, can you kind of take us, you seem to know this area well, better than we do here. Why don't you take us on a tour and tell us which buildings you see and what you know about the building?
Okay, Sally, we're going to head over towards the Cutler Ridge Mall.
All right, we're seeing the Winn-Dixie store right now.
That's it.
And we're seeing some residential areas.
Okay, this is just north of the Turnpike extension on the area, and it's east of US 1. The building off to my right, I'm sorry, is a modern age building from the rear. As you can see, as we pan along, as we are flying, you'll see nothing but debris that has been spread all over, even empty fields. As we come up here towards the Cutler Ridge Mall, you'll see on the side of the Turnpike extension an 18-wheeler where the cargo is laying upside down on the side of the road.
That's it right there.
That's it.
Huh.
And what's all that debris all over the place on the side of the road,
That
Maurice?
is loose pieces that was flying when the hurricane hit, and they just happened to land there. Right now, we're coming up on the Holiday Inn in the Cutler Ridge Mall. As you can see,
That's totally gutted, isn't it, Maurice?
that's affirmative. That's a total devastation.
I hope nobody was in there when this happened.
Now what you're looking at is Cutler Ridge Mall.
Now, these are not places that were halfway in construction or anything, right, Maurice? These are buildings that were fully operational.
No, these are fully operational buildings. I've even shopped here. That's Mervyn. That's J.C. Penney's right below us. As you can see, the one that says ears, that's Sears with the S gone.
I guess it is, Maurice. Yeah, there it is. I don't see much roof damage on that one. That seems to have escaped major damage. Am I wrong?
It is. It's a pretty good structure. There's no damage, but you'll see the Sears Auto, which is coming across, a part of it was peeled off.
Part of the roof.
Yeah, the little building with the cars right behind it.
Yeah, but that's not as bad as the other roofs. My gosh.
What is that big body of water that we're looking at right there? Is that just is that a lake or a puddle?
That's a parking lot. That's a parking lot, and as you see, the open front building,
Yes.
I think it used to be Publix.
Yes, that's the Publix. You're absolutely right. The whole front facade and looks like the interior is gone. The checkout lines, forget it.
And the one that's just below us is Rhodes Furniture. That's a parking lot behind it, on the side and in the front, if you got a boat.
Can you tell, because you probably are able to see things that we can't see through our monitor, can you see the merchandise in some of these places still? For example, do you see furniture in the modern age? Do you see food inside the public stores?
I haven't got that close to it yet, Rick. I can go down closer, but right now I'm shooting you a wide shot so you can see the whole area at one time to see what type of devastation this really was.
Maurice, why don't you, if you can, head over to that modern age building and let's take a look inside and see what happened. It's a pretty open shot. Most of the roof is gone in the back there.
Okay, that's what I'm headed for.
We can't help but imagine, and the reason we're concentrating on the modern age, because we would think, Maurice, that's got to be at least in the upper millions of dollars in damages if they were to lose every piece of furniture inside that store, not to mention all the decorating that they've done just to make the furniture stand out and the money that they've paid to their interior decorators to make the place look good. Then you add to that the physical plant itself. We got to be talking about millions of dollars, should we not?
What's that right there, Maurice?
Okay, this is a new building. I can't even tell you what's the name of it, Sally, because the front is all gone. The facade is all gone off the front. We're not coming up on the modern age building.
There it is.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm going down lower. This is, I hope the transmitter stay with me to let me know if I'm losing a signal.
We'll do that for you.
All the glass there broke out. Look at that.
It looks like the furniture is piled up in one corner on the right there.
Okay, we even have a car. As you see, this gentleman in the blue shirt is standing down there by his car. I guess he's wondering how he's going to get it out of here.
Look at that.
Look at all that furniture just tossed around and probably ruined.
That must have been the storage area in the back, the way that was jumbled around there.
Where you see the top part, that was the showroom from the front.
What is that boat doing there?
Somebody parked it, or
maybe it got there from Biscayne Bay.
There's a lot of them down there, too.
Just kidding, folks.
Now, what's that?
Okay, this is one of those strip centers across the street from Eckert's and Kmart's. It's down by Quail Roost.
Strip shopping center.
Where is the Holiday Inn from here, Maurice? Can you make it over there fairly easily?
The Holiday Inn is only about 3 blocks from here. I'm going to give you a turn, and you could be looking at it from a long distance while I go towards it.
Here it is. I wish there was a way that we can find out whether this place was vacated prior to the storm hitting or whether there were actually people in there at the time. I think that certainly would be a pertinent question.
I'll tell you one thing. Most of the hotels inland were booked. Some friends of mine tried to get reservations. They tried to escape the coastal areas to go inland, and they couldn't find rooms. They had a tough time. They had to go to a friend's house. So I hope it wasn't.
Well, I'll tell you, from this vantage point, one can't help but think that if it was filled with guests at the time, that they would have had a very tough time getting out of there without some injuries.
Let's see if Maurice can get closer in on that Holiday Inn so we can see a little bit more of what happened there.
Maurice, of all the areas that you've flown over so far today, is this the area by far that's you've seen that's shown you the most damage?
This is the worst area. The eye part of the eye came this way. I think it extended all the way down here to Cutler Ridge up to around 120th Street.
All the windows are gone. Well, the beds and the furniture are in there.
The beds and the furniture,
There's a few
the mirrors
cars there.
and
I
the
think
dressers.
some people forgot to check out.
I guess. Quite a sight at Cutler Ridge.
Maurice, stay with us for just a second here. We're going to just make a quick appeal to our viewers. We're having a problem right now. So many of you are calling us here at Channel 7 right now that our phone bank is completely jammed up. We can't make any phone calls going out. We can't get any phone calls coming in. The entire system is just jammed up. So if you would, unless it's an emergency and you need to reach us, we have to ask you in the most cordial and diplomatic way as I possibly can to not call us, at least within the next hour or so, while we can take care of some of our business, or else we're going to have a tough time bringing you or disseminating the information that we're trying to bring to you. We're not trying to discourage you from communicating with us, because without you, we can't do the news. But at this particular point in time, we'd like for you to cease calling so we can just get our phone system back in order again. We thank you ahead of time for that.
Maurice, what was that pink building that